Hello everyone, my name is Roque, and I'm excited to get to talk to you all. I would first like to thank Chief William Smith for welcoming me in to speak at this year's National Indian Health Board Summit, and also like to thank Stacy Bolin, who's actually Chippewa from my hometown, so thank you both for thinking of me to speak, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I would want to also start by saying that the work that the National Indian Health Board does year-round to help our communities and ensure that tribes are treated as the sovereignty they are in order to best protect the health of our indigenous people across the United States is something very admirable. It is a job that needs to be done, and I thank all of the people who go to bat for our communities. Now, I would like to talk about myself a bit. As I said, my name is Roque, and I am Ojibwe of Wanapate First Nation. I've had a different journey than most to end up where I am today. Just in general, I took a very non-traditional route with my life. My most recent accomplishment is becoming the first Indigenous female hockey player to represent Team USA at the Olympics. I was actually the only minority hockey player on that Team USA roster, and if you know hockey at all, you know hockey is a very white and a very male sport. So to be the first Indigenous player and the only minority player on that roster in Beijing made me very proud, and that I could add a little diversity and hopefully inspire other players to see someone like themselves playing at the biggest stage in sport and believe that they can make it there themselves someday. It also led me to be disappointed in the sport of hockey, a sport I've loved so much since a young age, as I couldn't believe how much the sport was lacking diversity, and I wish it wasn't. I wish that young girls and boys had many role models like themselves playing hockey for years before this. Well, let's start at the beginning. As I've mentioned, I took a rather untraditional route with my life to get where I am today. Yet, it all seemed to line up perfectly for me to end up where I am today. I was born the daughter of a hockey coach. And not just a hockey coach, a successful Indigenous hockey player and coach. My father played college hockey, got a full scholarship, becoming the first generation college graduate. Right from college, he became a hockey coach and has been working in hockey ever since. Naturally, you would think it would be pretty easy for me to become a hockey player as my dad's a hockey coach. Well, you're wrong, because I had to fight with them daily just to get out at figure skates because all I wanted to be in was hockey skates. And finally, they gave in and let me play hockey, which I get at the time was pretty unheard of, because most people playing hockey were boys. After that, I played hockey as much as possible growing up. I grew up in a small town called Sault Ste. Marie in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Hockey was the main sport there, but there weren't any other girls really playing hockey. So from the ages of 4 to 18, I grew up being the only girl in an all-boys hockey team every single year. It never really fazed me though, because to a young kid, you just think you're playing the sport you love with all of your best friends. Those boys were my best friends. At the time, you didn't realize how many parents and board members have a problem with a girl playing hockey with the boys. Later in life, my parents indulged me with lots more details of people who would come forward saying I shouldn't be allowed to play with the boys, saying that I should move away to play with other girls, or in general, that girls don't belong playing hockey, and some other worse things that I won't indulge you with. But the funny thing was for me that all the boys and all my peers always wanted me on the team because they saw that I belonged and I was their friend. It was always only the adults trying to tear down the dreams of a young child who just wanted to play hockey. But as I aged, I became more aware of this happening. During games, I would hear opposing coaches yelling at their players to run the girl, or even opposing teams' parents yelling at their kids from the stands. Sometimes there was even fights in the lobby after the game between parents from my team and the other team about me. I will say, I laughed a lot at that. As for me, I knew that I belonged here. I didn't care what they thought. I knew I was good enough, and I've proven that. But it did mean a lot to see all of the people who did stand up for me, from the coaches, to the parents, to the players who always did stand up for me and told me that I belonged. If I didn't have those people who stood up for me, I would absolutely not be where I am today. It was a lesson, I think, for everyone, to encourage, rather than dissuade, people to follow their dreams. Having just some people who believe in you and stand up for you and stand up for what is right can make all of the difference in someone's life, as it did in mine.